Howdy, y'all. How y'all doing out there today? Boy, it's gonna look like it's like a real good episode today on the AC podcast. We bringing it back with another Monday. Y'all might be wondering why I got this accent right now, but how about them Cowboys? Yeehaw! To get that keys on giving, boy. I reckon that the Cowboys are looking bad right about now. I reckon that they're in trouble. I reckon that Jerry Jones ain't particularly chippy this morning. He ain't particularly happy this morning or this afternoon. Excuse me. Boy. Dallas Cowboys took another L in Jerry yesterday in the big $1 billion playpen. And I'm happy that the Cowboys took another L and the Eagles got another win. It's not up in the division. I'm loving it. And all you Cowboy fans out there and all y'all that are listening, all you Cowboys fans, you make me sick. All you Cowboys fans out there. Well, y'all in some trouble. Y'all are in trouble. And I'm enjoying every minute of it. Because y'all can't beat a winning team. You beat up on the sorry Miami Dolphins and their SeaWorld sorry selves traveling all over the globe, getting whipped up left and right. You beat up on the Redskins who just fired their head coach. And then you beat up on the Eli Manning Giants. This is beautiful right now. Y'all haven't beaten a winning team yet. Oh, man. Oh, this is beautiful. You lost in New Orleans Saints and the Green Bay Packers. So y'all know where we going to get it started. We getting it started with this Dallas Green Bay game yesterday. Green Bay won this game 34-24. Dallas got down early, went down 21-0. Then eventually went down. They're down 31-3. And Dak Prescott did not play well. I don't care that he threw for a career high, 463 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Now, the one he threw to Amari Cooper should have caught the ball, even though the ball was a little underthrown. But Amari Cooper should have caught it. Second one he threw to Kevin, he threw one to the corner over the middle. There was a poorly thrown, just terrible throw. Don't know what Dak was seeing. And then he threw a third one to Kevin King on a curl route where Kevin King just had Michael Gallup locked up. But the key thing that I want y'all to remember, because some of y'all just keep trying to anoint Dak. Some of y'all just keep trying to do it. Dak is now 1-9 when Zeke doesn't run for 75 yards, at least. Didn't even run. Zeke, what do you have yesterday? 12 carries for 62 yards and a touchdown? I'm trying to figure out where Dak was when they were down with 7-0, 14-0, 21-0, 24-0, 31-3. Where was Dak then? Some of y'all gonna make the argument, oh, he threw for all these yards in the second half. And where were you when the game was on the line? There's no threat of the Cowboys coming back. Y'all Cowboys fans got yourselves excited. Y'all got yourselves excited thinking y'all about to come back. And whoop. Your kicker missed a field goal and the game was effectively over. I don't want to hear anything about the Cowboys being America's team. I don't want to hear anything about that. America is a great, great nation. May not be able to say that right now. But overall, America is the greatest country ever. And the Cowboys have lost for the last quarter century, 25 years of losing. I ain't been back to the Super Bowl since. I ain't been to an NFC Championship game. So I don't want to hear anything about the Cowboys and being America's team when America prides itself on greatness. Just stop it. But let me get back to these Cowboys because Aaron Jones had a field day on y'all, and I'm surprised. Aaron Jones, 19 carries, 107 yards, 4 touchdowns, and he also had 7 receptions for 75 yards. Green Bay's leading receiver. That's concerning if you're Green Bay because that means you don't have a secondary receiver. That means it's Devontae Adams or bust for your passing game. Aaron Rodgers, he was all right, 22, 34, 238 yards, but Aaron Jones did took the bulk of the load. 4 touchdowns yesterday. Crazy. But if you're Dallas and your defense getting ran over like that, it's not a good look. You're susceptible to the run. Now, I like their edge rushers, Robert Quinn and DeMarcus Lawrence, and you definitely have the best linebacking duo in the NFL by far. But your D tackle spots look a little questionable right now. I don't know who was playing them, but Green Bay was taking it to y'all up front. So that's not going to be good going forward. And Dak's got to play better, especially since he wants his money. Another game I think that could be used against him when he goes into contract negotiations. Dak has to want to be paid higher than Carson Wentz and Jared Goff after what they got. Carson Wentz got $107 million guaranteed. Jared Goff got $110. Dak's at least got a playoff victory, something Carson Wentz doesn't have. I mean, when's Dak gonna? He's gonna have to show up against some winning teams. So far, since 2017, he's 5-9 versus winning teams, 23 touchdowns and 18 turnovers and 40 sacks. And yesterday, he didn't even throw. He threw for 0 yards on third down. Could be some trepidation on the Cowboys' part. I don't know, but that's something to monitor going forward yet again. Yet again, something to monitor going forward. I don't know. I think Dak's a good quarterback, but if you want to be mentioned with these other guys, if you want money like these other guys, you have to produce better than this. You dug your team a hole and then you couldn't. And then you didn't show up until the game was practically over, until Green Bay sat back and let you throw for a bunch of yards. A bunch of empty calorie stats. I don't want to hear nothing about that. But the Dallas defense has been disappointing. Where are they at? Where were they at yesterday? They weren't stopping nobody. 34 points given up? I'm not worried about their defense, but wasn't a good showing yesterday, especially their run defense. That was a big blunder. I didn't think I'd see the Cowboys get ran over like that. I thought Aaron Rodgers was going to put on an absolute performance or absolute show in Jerry World like he always does, but that wasn't the case. So, in conclusion, I appreciate y'all, Cowboys fans, and all that riling up that y'all got from those first 3 weeks, but now it gets tough sledding. Y'all got a bye week next week because y'all play the Jets, so, ain't much to talk about there. And then Philly comes into town. Oh, yeah, that's going to be an interesting game. But I'm going to move on. Philly played the New York Jets yesterday. Easy game as far as I'm concerned because Jets aren't much of a football team right now. They're on their third-string quarterback. I mean, what can you say? It's the Jets. Wasn't really. And to be honest with you, as a Philadelphia fan, I wasn't even impressed by that victory yesterday. I'm gonna keep it all the way real with y'all. I was not in the least bit impressed by what I saw from the Philadelphia Eagles yesterday. Philadelphia Eagles are an undisciplined football team. They committed so many penalties, I couldn't believe it on offense. It's unbelievable what these guys were doing. And then the defense, they got 10 sacks. They got two touchdowns, an interception for a touchdown by Nate Gary, and a fumble for a touchdown by Orlando Scandrick. But overall, I'm just not impressed. I just wasn't impressed by what the Philadelphia Eagles did. They struggled for most of the day on offense. Carson Wentz, 17-29, 189 yards, a touchdown. I mean, I love Mercedes Wentz, but I don't know what Doug Peterson. I mean, the Eagles don't have a deep threat right now. They got to get a second deep threat receiver because, at some point you're gonna have to throw the ball down the field. There's no way you can beat teams throwing it to possession receivers like Zach Ertz and Alshon Jeffrey all day. And Aguilar, 1 catch, 20 yards. Where are you at, bro? I don't know if Carson Wentz lost faith in him or whatever, but he ain't getting that many targets anymore since he's been dropping balls. Dallas Goedert, 1 catch for 11 yards. I mean, Eagles receivers aren't that impressive right now. I don't know where Carson Wentz is supposed to go with the football. Alshon's going to be a possession receiver. He's not beating you down the field. Zach Ertz, he's a possession receiver. He's not beating you down the field. The Eagles need some type of deep threat. They need something. Nelson Aguilar is the fastest guy on the team right now with Deshaun Jackson out. Eagles going to need Deshaun Jackson to get back fast, quick, fast, and in a hurry. Carson Wentz averaged 6.5 yards per attempt? That's nothing. That ain't going to get it done. Running game was okay. 29 attempts for 84 yards. Jordan Howard, 13 for 62. But overall, I mean, I didn't expect the Philadelphia Eagles to lose this game. They're playing Luke Falk. He's a third-string quarterback. He threw 2 interceptions yesterday. A QBR of 1.8. I mean, you can't expect anything from the Jets. The only threat they have is Le'Veon Bell, and he only had 2.9 yards per carry, 15 rushes for 43 yards. But stop it. Eagles didn't impress me yesterday. They didn't play a team. They didn't do anything impressive. Come on now, man. Eagles got to get it together. They got to get it together. I still don't trust their secondary. They played good yesterday, but that's because they play a third-string quarterback. I still don't trust their secondary. They got to make a trade for a corner as far as I'm concerned. I'm going to give you can only play who's on your schedule, so I give the Eagles props for beating up on the Jets, getting 10 sacks and getting 2 defensive touchdowns, but on offense, I was not impressed. I expected a better offensive performance. Now, the Jets aren't no slouch. They're not slouches on defense. They got some players, but come on, man. I expected more from the offense, and they didn't give it to me, so that's that, but I'm going to move on because there's a team I was even more disappointed in that I talked about on last week's episode. These Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What was that yesterday? These Buccaneers gave up 31 points to Teddy Checkdown Bridgewater, who has limitations throwing the football past 15 yards. What were they doing yesterday? What were the Buccaneers doing yesterday on defense? I don't know. They let Teddy Bridgewater throw 26 of 34 for 314 yards and 4 touchdowns. He threw an interception. But you thought that man throw for 4 touchdowns on you at 300 plus yards? There's no excuses for this. Teddy Bridgewater cannot throw the ball down the field. And your defense was getting shredded again. How do you get shredded all over by Teddy Bridgewater? I don't get it. And you couldn't guard Michael Thomas. 11 receptions for 182 yards and 2 touchdowns. Faced press coverage on 22 of his 35 routes, according to Next Gen Stats. And caught all 9 of his targets for 164 yards and 2 touchdowns. And gained 4.6 yards per route against press coverage. Best in the NFL. That means there was no defender within almost 5 yards of Michael Thomas when you lined up in man-to-man press coverage against him. Are you kidding me? The Bucs don't have a secondary. They don't have one. Shaq Barrett is good up front, and Dominican Sue looks better in a Bucs uniform than he did in a Rams uniform. But you don't have a defense. I like Levante David. He's good. I like Devin White when you drafted him the 5th overall pick. He was back yesterday, but that didn't save your defense. Your secondary is porous. Bucs can't win anything. I said last week I thought they should win the division if they won this game, and I expected them to win this game. And you lost to Teddy Bridgewater? Come on, man. This man has limitations throwing the football, and you let him throw for over 300 yards on you. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. I'm sorry. It just is. And Jameis Winston, a pedestrian game, really. 15 of 27, 204 yards, 2 touchdowns. Had a couple interceptions that got called back on penalties. He didn't play stellar. The Saints defense is good, but come on, you got weapons. Chris Godwin had a good day, 7 receptions for 125 yards and 2 touchdowns. Marshawn Lattimore took Mike Evans out the game, put him on an island. Had Mike Evans sipping pina coladas. He was on vacation yesterday because he wasn't catching footballs. He wasn't doing that. Marshawn Lattimore allowed 0 receptions on 2 targets as the nearest defender and lined up across him on 43 of 53 snaps. That's 81%. And Mike Evans didn't have a catch against him? What was that all about? Mike Evans is your best receiver. And we couldn't find him yesterday. Unbelievable. Marshawn Lattimore took him out the game. Took him completely out the game. It was just unacceptable. It's just unacceptable. This is why you can't believe in the Bucs, because they're inconsistent. The minute you put some expectations on them, with Drew Brees out, they're playing a team that has Teddy Bridgewater starting at quarterback. The Atlanta Falcons stink, looking like Dan Quinn's going to get fired. The Carolina Panthers are good, but I don't believe in Kyle Allen. He looks good. We'll see going forward into the later part of the season. October just got started. We'll see what you look like mid-October to mid-November. That's when we really know what your team is about. But right now, the Bucs, their defense is not good. It's not good at all. And Jameis Winston got sacked 6 times yesterday. Right now, their defense is not good. I don't trust it. And that's why they probably can't win this division. They've already beaten Carolina, so that's a plus. But it doesn't look good for Tampa Bay. I thought they could win this game. I thought they should have won this game. And you lost. They didn't lose by much, but you can't lose to Teddy Bridgewater. If you're the Tampa Bay defense, you're Todd Bowles. You can't give up 300 plus yards and 4 touchdowns to the Teddy Bridgewater-led Saints. You can't do that. And Mike Evans can't be shut down in this game. Looking at these receiving numbers, no one else did anything except for Chris Godwin. He had 7 receptions for 125 yards and 2 touchdowns. The next closest receiver was Agumbalawe for 2 receptions for 27 yards. No. It's no good. It's no good. I'm sorry. It's no good. Tampa Bay Bucs got a lot to figure out. Let me get to this Pittsburgh game. Rivalry game yesterday, divisional rivalry game. One of the best rivalries in football in the NFL. Pittsburgh loses 26-23. Mason Rudolph got knocked out of this game by Earl Thomas. Earl Thomas should have been ejected, but it is what it is. James Conner, 14 carries, 55 yards, a touchdown. Juju, 77 receptions, 75 yards, a touchdown. Lamar Jackson was awful. 19-20, 161 yards, a touchdown, 3 interceptions. Looking like he didn't know what to do once Mark Andrews got hurt. But it's more about Pittsburgh because Juju fumbled the ball away again. Fumbled the game away against the Saints. And then with Delvin Hodges in the game, fumbled the ball. Marlon Humphrey made a great play on the ball. And that was that for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But as far as I'm concerned, I already said it before, but for anybody else that's a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, y'all thought there's a way to salvage this season. The season's over. There's nothing left to root for. I'm a faithful fan. I'm a loyal fan, so I'm going to continue watching my team and supporting them. But I just got to keep it real. The Pittsburgh Steelers, it's over. Their season is done. There's no way they're winning this division. And I don't even see how they can win many games. I don't know where these wins are going to come from. I just don't. Defense played great yesterday. We're all over Lamar Jackson. Got 3 interceptions too. And they sacked him 5 times. I don't know what else you could ask the defense to do. But this offense, man, I don't know. And it appears Mike Tomlin's job is safe now. Unless these rumors are true and Washington's owner wants to Mike Tomlin's one of the top targets for Washington right now that Jay Gruden's fired. I doubt it'll happen, but it is what it is. But as far as I'm concerned, I was calling for Mike Tomlin's job in the first episode, and then I was saying once we acquire Minka Fitzpatrick that he's not off the hook because this defense, and when Ben Roethlisberger went out too, he's not off the hook because he's supposed to be a defensive mind, and he's a defensive coach. So there's no excuse. You have 8 first-round picks on the defense. This defense should still be able to do something. And they've done it ever since they've acquired Minka Fitzpatrick. He's been a stabilizing force in the secondary. But overall, I mean, there's just nothing. There's nothing left for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Your starting quarterback goes out, then your backup goes out. The guy that they thought the Steelers spoke so highly of and thought so highly of, now he's out. Got a concussion yesterday. We don't know how long he's going to be out. I'm sure he's the starting quarterback whenever he clears concussion protocol. But if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, it's just a season not meant to be, as far as I'm concerned. And it pains me to say that, but it just is what it is. It just is what it is. There's nothing left for the Pittsburgh Steelers. There's nothing left. It's a wrap. Our season's over. Our season it's gone. I don't know what else to say. I was impressed that we got 3 interceptions yesterday on defense. I was impressed on how we were able to contain Lamar Jackson after everyone else has basically gotten shredded by him, except for the Chiefs to a lesser degree, but the other teams that they played. But overall, I mean, Pittsburgh, you're 1-4. The only team worse than you in the division is the 0-5 Cincinnati Bengals, who lost to the Cardinals yesterday. There's just not much to be happy about right now if you're a Pittsburgh fan. There's not much. But this is our season, so I guess the only exciting part right now is just to continue to watch the defense, because on offense it's going to be hard to watch. It's going to be hard to watch. And right now everybody's job is safe on the coaching staff. Randy Fichtner got handpicked by Ben Roethlisberger. Mike Tomlin and Keith Butler say because now they have a license to lose without Mason Rudolph. So, if you're a Pittsburgh fan, we're going to be stuck with Keith Butler again next year. Mike Tomlin's coming back, and Randy Fichtner will be back. Maybe they can run it back next year and see what happens. But overall, it just doesn't look good. So, that's that. I mean, I give Baltimore credit for winning, but I mean, they beat a third-string quarterback. So, it is what it is. These Atlanta Falcons, man. I think it's time for Dan Quinn to be fired. I think it is. I think it is time for Dan Quinn to lose his job. I don't like calling for people's jobs. And I'm not really qualified either, because I'm not one of the professionals yet in this business. Striving, but not a professional yet. But you can tell just watching when a team just doesn't show up. You can tell when there's bad coaching. You can tell when there's time for just a change. And the Falcons need that. They need it. It's a wrap. They let Deshaun Watson yesterday throw all over them. Deshaun Watson had a career day on the Atlanta Falcons. A career day. 28 of 33 for 426 yards and 5 touchdowns. He only missed 5 throws. The amount of incompletions he had is the same amount of touchdowns that he had. I love Deshaun Watson. He's a superstar. I said it before. And he rectified what he did last week with that terrible performance that he had. And he fumbled the game away against the Carolina Panthers. But come on, man. Are you kidding me? Dan Quinn, you're supposed to be a defensive mind. And they didn't give up 50. The defense didn't give up 53. They gave up 46 because they got a pick 6 late. The Texans got a pick 6 late. But are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me? You gave up 47 points to the Houston Texans. That's not good. There's nothing to brag about. Are you kidding me? They scored 32 yesterday. But what was your secondary at? 14 receptions for 217 yards and 3 touchdowns for Will Fuller? Throwing all over you. Deshaun Watson yesterday, according to Next Gen Stats, 15 of 17 for 247 yards and 4 touchdowns on seam routes. You are getting cooked in the secondary, having rainbows thrown over your head. On 10-plus air yards, Deshaun Watson was 9 of 11 for 238 yards and 4 touchdowns. Was pressured on just 6% of his dropbacks, according to Next Gen Stats. A perfect passer rating of 158.3. Just the third player in the Super Bowl era with 400 passing yards and 5 touchdowns and a perfect passer rating. Atlanta's secondary is atrocious. They're god-awful. They're horrible. There's nothing to speak about with the Atlanta Falcons. It's time for a change. It's just that simple. It is time for a change. The Atlanta Falcons, their season's over. Their season's over. I'm still mad they beat my Philadelphia Eagles. They should be 0-5 right now, not 1-4. If Nelson Aguilar had hands, if his hands weren't made of butter, it's unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. Atlanta Falcons have so much talent. There's no excuses. There's no excuses at all. They're an abomination right now. They're not going anywhere. It doesn't look like they're going anywhere. Except last place in the division. They look like the worst team in the division. And they have the second best quarterback. Other than Drew Brees, but Drew Brees is hurt right now. So what is Matty Ice's excuse? He didn't play terrible yesterday. 32 of 46 for 330 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. But overall, the Atlanta Falcons just haven't shown up. It's unbelievable. You have talent on both sides of the ball. Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, Mohamed Sanu, Austin Hooper, Devontae Freeman, a good O-line. On the D-line, you have Grady Jarrett, Tack McKinley. You have Vic Beasley, who led the league in sacks a few years ago. You have Deion Jones and Devondre Campbell as your linebacking core. In your secondary, you have Desmond Trufant. Didn't look too good yesterday, getting roasted all over the field. You got Ricardo Allen. You got Keanu Neal. DeMontez Casey, who had 6 or 7 interceptions last year as a rookie. It's unbelievable what the Atlanta Falcons are doing right now. It's unbelievable. They have too much talent to be this porous. They have too much. They're horrible. Absolutely horrible. There's nothing left to speak on about them. There's nothing left to speak on about them. I'm sorry. It is what it is. Atlanta Falcons wear me out. A poorly coached team, a team that's so talented but can't get it together. Can't get it together. We all know the news today. Jay Gruden was relieved of his duties. He was fired. He was just a symptom, but he wasn't the head problem in Washington. They've got so many of those. I already highlighted him last week, so I'm not going to go back into it. But Jay Gruden, 35, 49, and 1 as a coach. Lost to New England yesterday, predictably. There's just nothing to talk about with these guys. I mean, you don't have much of anything with the Washington Redskins right now. There's nothing really to speak on. And their top candidates, according to Bleacher or according to ESPN, are Mike Tomlin, head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Todd Bowles, defensive coordinator of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Chiefs offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy. Those are their top candidates right now that they would like as head coach of their team for next year. But there's a bigger problem. The former coordinators of the Washington Redskins, former offensive coordinators for the Washington Redskins, all have head coaching jobs right now. Kyle Shanahan, Matt LaFleur, and Sean McVay. You didn't think about hiring one of those guys while they were still on your staff? You didn't think about keeping one of them, something, and firing Jay Gruden before? It wasn't like he was doing anything great. I mean, what were the Redskins thinking? You haven't had a quarterback in so long. 7 different ones since 2013. It's abominable. I think Dwayne Haskins will do it, but I don't know. I don't know if Dwayne Haskins can do it in Washington. Yeah, management that was split on drafting him. Why would you draft someone that you're not all in on? Does that make sense? We're talking about the most important position in the NFL, probably the most important position in sports. And your management is split on drafting him, and you draft him anyways? And he probably knows that some of y'all in the building didn't want him in the front office. What are they trying to set him up for failure? They already set him up for failure last week by throwing him in against the Giants. It's unbelievable. Washington Redskins still have a lot of problems to get fixed. Their defense stinks. They have bad ownership. They have no coach now. They have no quarterback. They can't run the ball. Trent Williams is still holding out. And they're not trading him? Unbelievable. Washington Redskins are a disgrace right now. They're a disgrace of a franchise. They're a disgrace. It just is what it is. That's what they are. They're just a disgrace. But it's okay. Because I appreciate them being a disgrace. Because they're in the Philadelphia Eagles division. So that means they're going to be a continued punching bag for the next, decade probably? As long as Dan Snyder's the owner, it doesn't look like they're going anywhere. He wants to involve himself in drafting people and all this stuff. If you don't know anything about football, it's okay if you're an owner. If you don't know anything about football, just stay in your lane and own and cut the checks. Unbelievable. Top 5 winners. Deshaun Watson. I already highlighted it. Had a career day yesterday throwing all over the Atlanta's poorest secondary. Terrible. But Deshaun Watson is a superstar in this league. And he has to continue to play like that if the Texans want to win the AFC South. Right now, the Colts are on top of the division, but Deshaun Watson keeps playing like this. There ain't going to be Colts ain't going to win this division at all. It's not going to be that. Threw 5 touchdowns yesterday. Watch out for Deshaun Watson. I like what he's doing his post-game conferences too, describing defenses and picking them apart and dissecting it, giving reporters good analysis on what's going on and what he's seeing. I like what he's doing. You don't get that from players. You don't get that. And I appreciate Deshaun Watson doing it, especially a young QB like him. Something special. That's great insight and great information that he's giving analysts and reporters. That's great. I appreciate that. Second winner, Kyler Murray. Got his first NFL win. I believe in this guy. He's a franchise quarterback. I don't know about Cliff Kingsbury and his quote-unquote innovative offense, but they beat the Cincinnati Bengals. Someone had to win of this team again, with both these teams not having a victory yet. Arizona Cardinals are now 1-3-1 on the season. Kyler Murray, 20-32 for 253 yards, and he also was the leading rusher yesterday. 10 carries for 93 yards and a touchdown. Like I said, Kyler Murray doesn't have much, so he's probably not going to win many games, but I had to come and brag about him because he won yesterday and he played good. Third winner, the Saints. Obvious reasons. Saints won yesterday. But the real reason I have the Saints in the top winners is because they're 3-0 without Drew Brees. And now that they're 3-0 without Drew Brees, that's all I thought. I thought they only had to go 500, win 3 games while Drew Brees is out. And they've done that. They could lose the rest of their games. Lose the rest of the games they don't have Drew Brees for, and they'll be just fine. Because it doesn't look like any other team is better than them in their division. Nobody's better than them in their division, and they don't even have Drew Brees. What do y'all think's going to happen once Drew Brees comes back? Saints are probably the best team in the NFC. They're the most complete roster. I would say the Green Bay Packers, but they're still getting stuff sorted out on offense. Sean Payton is an elite coach. Matt LaFleur is a rookie. I like Green Bay's defense a little bit better. I think Aaron Rodgers can make every throw. Drew Brees, his arm's dissipating. But overall, I'm about to go with the more experienced coach who also has a defense. And he has 2 elite playmakers on offense. If you have Drew Brees throwing you the football, there's nothing else to worry about. I'm worried about the Saints not having a deep threat. But right now, I have to put them as the top team in the NFC. And once Drew Brees comes back, it's a wrap. I don't know how it's all going to shake out, but I think it's a wrap as far as their division. The Bucs don't have a defense. You don't know what you're going to get from Jameis Winston from week to week. Carolina Panthers, they don't have Cam Newton, so as far as I'm concerned, they're not winning jack. And don't even get me started on the Atlanta Falcons and their sorry secondary and their underperforming offense. So as far as I'm concerned, the Saints were winners yesterday. Because they are 3-0 without Drew Brees. 3-0. Impressive stuff. Just impressive. Fourth winner, the New England Patriots. And it's not because they beat the lowly Redskins. It's because the New England Patriots are the best team in the AFC. And to me, I had Kansas City there, but Kansas City don't have a defense. Their defense stinks. It is horrible. Their defense is horrible. They got ran all over yesterday. Marlon Mack, 29 carries for 132 yards. Couldn't stop him when you needed to. Patrick Mahomes wasn't stellar yesterday. Neither was Jacoby Brissett. But the Colts O-line is one of the top 3 or top 5 O-lines in the league. I'm not bragging about Kansas City's front 4 like it's something spectacular. But, I mean, come on. How can you not be impressed with the Colts? 3-2 without Andrew Luck, with Andrew Luck retiring. They're doing good. They had a Super Bowl contending roster even without Andrew Luck. They're not contending for a Super Bowl this year, but the rest of the roster wasn't bad, even though Andrew Luck retired. So I got to give them respect. So that was impressive. And that actually leads me into the Colts. They're the other top winner. Patriots are winners just because Kansas City doesn't have a defense, so I can't expect Kansas City to beat New England without that. I don't think they can stop New England. Patrick Mahomes has got to win a shootout, and I just don't think it's going to happen. The way the ball always goes against the way the ball always goes for New England, they're likely to get the ball last. And if you have Tom Brady against the Chiefs defense with a chance to win the game, I'm sorry, it's a wrap. You might as well go and tie that bow on that present, because it's going to be a wrap. Christmas is going to come early for Tom Brady. Chiefs defense is suspect. It's not even suspect. It's nowhere to be found. Top losers. Redskins. I don't even want to get into them. Fired their coach. He's not even the main he was a problem, but he wasn't the main problem. They got other problems they need to sort out. Dysfunctional franchise. Don't even want to talk about them that much. Second loser, the Bucks. It's obvious. I picked them to win. I thought they won yesterday. They have a real chance to win the division because then they played Carolina without Cam Newton. I thought they could win that game. But the Bucks defense is just horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible. There's nothing else to talk about with the Bucks. And you don't know what you're going to get from Jameis Winston from week to week. Mike Evans wasn't involved yesterday. That was a disappointment. Todd Bowles, he's a veteran defensive coordinator. His defense looks horrible. It looks horrible. I don't want to hear any excuses for the Bucks defense. They have the defensive player of the year on their roster right now, and Shaq Barrett, or the leading candidate. You got 2 good linebackers. Your secondary stinks, as far as I'm concerned. Todd Bowles may want to stop blitzing so much and might want to play some more coverage. Because the Bucks secondary can't cover anybody. They can't cover anybody. Sorry, it's not happening. It ain't happening, Captain. Third loser, Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey didn't play yesterday. But he's a loser because it doesn't look like the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to trade him. The owner's in his feelings. And his hell bent on not trading him. And even though he wants to make him the highest paid corner, but Jalen Ramsey's not worried about that. He knows he's going to get paid wherever he goes. But this is all about respect. And Tom Coughlin has disrespected Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey's his own man. He knows that he's that great. Not good. He's that great. I don't want to hear anything about there being another corner that's better than Jalen Ramsey. Because it's false. There's no corner in the NFL that's better than Jalen Ramsey. He's the best corner in the NFL. Stephen Gilmore's not better than him. Casey Hayward's not better than him. Xavier Howard's not better than him. I don't want to hear anything about any of these other corners. Denzel Ward's not better than him. Richard Sherman's not better than him. Marshawn Lattimore's not better than him. Patrick Peterson's not better than him. Xavier Rhodes is not better than him. I'm sorry. He's the best corner in the NFL. But it just doesn't look like he's going to get traded. The report came out yesterday that says a source believes that Jacksonville wouldn't even trade him for 5 first-round picks. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are foolish right now. And this is a prime example of why they're a poorly run franchise. A player wants out. I get it. You don't want to set precedents for players wanting out. But we have to keep in mind, not everybody can pull power moves like this. Antonio Brown was a superstar, so he could pull a power move like what he did with the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Oakland Raiders. Jalen Ramsey's a superstar, so he can do that. He commands that much. And if he wants out, why would you not just trade him? You said the report is you wanted 2 first-round picks. You got offered that. You still turned it down because you believe they were too low first-round picks. Well, if you wait, Jacksonville, they have the argument that they have him locked up this year and they have him locked up for next year because of his 5th-year options they activated. But you're going to let an elite talent, the best corner in the NFL, walk in free agency instead of getting something for him while you still can? Does that make sense? That makes no sense. It makes no sense at all. I find it hard to believe that if you're a smart and functional franchise, that if an elite player requests a trade and you know that they don't want to play for you anymore, that you don't trade them and try to get everything you can for them. You're going to let them walk in free agency for nothing. I find that just hard. I get you don't want to set that precedent, but at some point you're going to have to trade him. It doesn't matter that the owner wants to make him the highest paid corner in the NFL. It's not about that. Jalen Ramsey knows he's going to get paid. He knows this. He knows how great he is. He doesn't need the Jacksonville Jaguars to validate that. He knows he's that great. And you're seeing how their defense looks without him. It's still good. But if you have Jalen Ramsey, you can stick him on the number 1 corner and he can travel, or on the number 1 receiver, he can travel with anybody. He can guard anybody. He takes away a whole half of the field, or he takes away your best receiver. There's nothing to discuss. But overall, I think Jalen Ramsey's a loser just because I don't think he's going to get traded. So I don't think he's going to get what he wants. He's not going to win in this situation because they have him locked up this year and next year. Maybe they trade him next year, but I don't see him being traded this year. It doesn't look like that's going to happen. We'll see as the trade deadline approaches. But right now, it doesn't look good for Jalen Ramsey's chances of getting traded. 4th loser, Dak Prescott. It ain't because Dak lost yesterday. It's more so because Dak keeps adding evidence that he should not be the highest paid quarterback in NFL history. I'm not saying Dak is the best quarterback in the NFL and he has to validate that. It's always about who's up next as far as contracts are concerned. And Dak's up next. I just find it hard to believe that the Cowboys believe in Dak Prescott. I'm not buying it. This is the most important position in the NFL. And they gave $100 million to a running back before they gave $100 million to the most important position in the NFL. What does that tell you that they think of Dak? They think that Zeke is the guy and Dak is along for the ride. That's what that tells me. I don't know what else I could tell anybody else. The Eagles don't pay a running back. The Chiefs didn't pay a running back. The Packers didn't pay a running back. The Steelers didn't pay a running back. They let Le'Veon Bell walk. I don't get it. If you believe Dak is that guy and you're Jerry Jones, why haven't you paid him? Are you betting on him so you don't have to pay him $35 to $37 million? You can pay him $25 to $30? Because that seems to be what Jerry Jones and the Cowboys think. There's a quote of what Jerry Jones said about Dak. Matter of fact, I'm going to pull it up in a second. Where is it at? Right here. Jerry Jones on Dak Prescott's comparison via 105.3 The Fan. I think he's more like Tom Brady. We know Tom Brady and he's no Tom Brady, but the point is he will evolve and is evolving into a guy that will beat you. I think we got us one in Dak. Jerry Jones says, I think we got us one in Dak. That means you think that you have a franchise quarterback and you haven't paid him? How are you saying publicly that you think that you have a quarterback, but you haven't paid him? He's a 4th-round pick. He wants to get broke off. He doesn't want some meager salary. He doesn't want 25 to 30 million. Dak's a competitive guy. He has to think that he's better than Carson Wentz and Jared Goff. I think any competitor would. Now, is he better than that? He's not better than Carson Wentz. I don't want to hear anything about that. Jared Goff, maybe, the way he's looking right now. But overall, I'm not buying what the Cowboys are selling me. They're saying they believe in Dak, but they haven't paid him. They paid $100 million to a running back who had off-the-field incidents, who's been suspended. Dak isn't more trustworthy than Ezekiel Elliott? They say Ezekiel Elliott is more trustworthy, and we believe in him more, so we gave him $100 million, and we haven't paid Dak Prescott yet. The Cowboys know they're a running team. They know Dak isn't the reason. Or at least that's what they believe. I don't get it. So I don't think Dak Prescott's a loser because of his performance. I think it's going to be used as ammunition and contract negotiations to undermine him and to lowball him as far as money's concerned. But overall, I don't think Dak's played that bad this year. I think the Cowboys as a whole have lost to 2 good teams, and they've beaten 3 sorry teams. But I just don't think that the Cowboys believe in Dak Prescott as much as they say they do. Because if that's the case, why would you give $100 million to a running back and not the most important position in the NFL? Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. But I'm going to let y'all decide that. Because my last loser is Los Angeles Chargers. I don't ever want to hear again that Phillip Rivers is a better quarterback than Ben Roethlisberger. Because I've heard it plenty of times. I've heard it too many times. Phillip Rivers yesterday lost to the who were the 0-4 Denver Broncos. Phillip Rivers went 32 of 48 for 211 yards and 2 interceptions. Phillip Rivers, before last year, had missed the playoffs 7 out of 8 seasons. And he got stomped by Tom Brady and the New England Patriots in the divisional round last year. The Chargers have no excuses to be losing games. I get it. Their best player on defense is out, Derwin James, who's probably their best strong safety in the NFL. Yes, I said it. But there's no excuse. They have talent all over their defense. And they have the league's leading receiver on offense in Keenan Allen. Or he was until yesterday, probably. You got Melvin Gordon back. Austin Eckler is leading the league in touchdowns. What is your excuse if you're Phillip Rivers? You haven't been to a Super Bowl. You've been to one conference championship game and you lost. At what point do we start looking at Phillip Rivers and his underperforming? And that's not like he hasn't had talented teams. He has Keenan Allen. He has Hunter Henry. He has Melvin Gordon and Austin Eckler. You got Travis Benjamin. Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram are on defense. You got Casey Hayward and Desmond King, 2 All-Pros and Pro Bowlers in the secondary. I mean, what is your excuse? I don't get it. With these Los Angeles Chargers, they're a lot of people's pick to go to the Super Bowl. They don't look like a contending team. They're not better than Kansas City. And Kansas City doesn't have a defense. Chargers got to get it together. They don't look good. This is why you can't believe in them. They're another team that has a lot of talent but always underperforms. It's like they're the Atlanta Falcons of the AFC. So much talent but can't get it together. You just can't believe in them. And I don't believe in them. It's exactly why. They're always underperforming with so much talent. I get tired of hearing about the Los Angeles Chargers. Well, you got to prove it. You've underperformed for years. And you've been you had a Hall of Fame quarterback. I'm looking straight at Phillip Rivers. Looking straight at him. I don't know how you can be an elite quarterback and miss the playoffs 7 of 8 years and we're not questioning you. That doesn't make sense. That does not make sense. People were getting on Matt Ryan for choking away the Super Bowl. When are we going to look at Phillip Rivers? When are we going to look at him? But that's all I got for today. I appreciate y'all for listening. Overall, it's been an interesting first 5 weeks of the NFL season. I can say that for sure. Steelers season is over. Jay Gruden got fired. Redskins are a dysfunctional franchise. Tampa Bay still disappointing. Dallas took another L. Philadelphia, they look good, but Patriots are still the Patriots, looking like they're the best team in the league again. I don't think my Eagles are going to be able to get Jalen Ramsey, so as far as our Super Bowl hopes, I don't know where that lies, unless we can trade for a corner. Somebody, Xavier Howard, Chris Harris, somebody. I don't know what the Eagles are going to do in the secondary because I don't trust them. But I mean, other than that, it is what it is. But I appreciate you guys for listening. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments under this episode, and I'll answer them for next week. Other than that, I appreciate you guys for listening. I'm out.